Hi, this is Carl Polachuk from Small Biz Thoughts, and this is another SOP video for managed service providers. And today we've got a tip that comes from Volume 1 of the Managed Services Operations Manual. Today we're going to talk about collections. What does that mean? Collections. I'm not talking about you collecting little toy Star Wars things. No. We're talking about money. So when we talk about collections, the important thing is you want it to be as small as possible. And too many people in small business make the mistake of assuming that they have to have collections and that they have to have people owe them money. That is not true. Let me give you 5 tips about collections. And number 1 is avoid them at all costs. The easiest way to avoid collections is another tip we talked about before, and that is you should try to get paid in advance for absolutely everything you do. Your monthly managed service should be paid in advance on the first day of the month. All the subscriptions for software and services should be paid in advance. If you can, you should get hardware paid in advance, at least 50%. In our case, we will not order hardware and software from the manufacturer or from the distributor until we have been paid for it. So we'll invoice the client, but as soon as we get paid, then we process that order. So you can do whatever you want, but if you can possibly avoid having people owe you money, that is a great way to start. You'll see why when we get to the other tips. Second, and somewhat related, you should have the number of days out be as small as possible. Days out means how many days of operation does it take you to pay down the debt that you have. So for example, if people owe you $30,000, just for a big, nice round number, and your run rate is that you have revenue of roughly $30,000 a month, well, that means that you are 30 days out, right? It will take you a month to be able to collect all that money that you are due. Some people give what I consider to be really, really bad advice, which is don't be more than 60 to 90 days out. Well, with a run rate of $1,000 a day, that means that you're 60 to 90 days out, that people owe you money for services that you've already provided. Absolutely, I'd go back to number 1 and don't do that if you can possibly avoid it. If you look at your run rate, look at how many days out you are, calculate what that is, and start to reduce it slowly over time. How do you do that? Well, number 3 is you should have really tight terms. So for example, many manufacturers will only give you terms of net 10 or net 15. Some won't give you terms at all. That's what you should do with your customers, right? You shouldn't automatically say, oh, you can have 30 days terms. That's silly. I'm sorry, it just is silly. Talk to your clients and tell them what you need. Say, hey, I'm a small business, I need to get paid in advance. I can't be the bank. If you need a bank, that's cool. I will help you find financing. We can lease this equipment. We can do all kinds of things, but I'm not the guy who's going to be loaning you money so you can run your operation more smoothly. Realistically, what that means is, for example, you might say our terms are that we get paid in advance for managed services. Our terms are that for hourly labor, let's just say that we have terms of net 20. So that means if Monday morning comes and you have to invoice somebody for the work you did last week, they've got 20 days to pay that. But make that as small as possible. Make it 10 days if you can. I frequently get invoices that say, due upon receipt. And I think that's reasonable. Those are the terms that I signed up for. Make it as small as possible. Number 4, you should charge fees when people are using your money. So let's say that you have terms of net 20 and somebody pays 5 days late. Well, you should charge them a late fee and you should charge them interest. Now some people say, oh, don't charge interest until it's 30 days past due or something like that. This is why people pay late, because it costs them nothing, right? They are literally borrowing your money and you're not charging them for it. So they could go to the bank and they'd have to pay interest. They could put it on their credit card. They'd have to pay interest. If they pay their credit card late, they have to have a late fee. But you give them money for free. You don't charge them any interest and you don't charge any late fees. You're way better than the bank, right? Obviously you see, I'm a big fan that you should not do that. Instead, you should charge late fees. You should charge interest. and it should start the minute that it's late, not 30 days later. Number 5, you should have a standard process for getting the money collected. And I highly recommend you do this every Monday. So Monday morning, whoever runs the office should sit down with the office manager and the bookkeeper and say, all right, who is late and how late are they? If they've just turned late, well, then they get a $25 late fee. We don't charge that every week, but we do charge it the one time that it goes late. And if it doesn't get paid in a month, then you apply some interest. Some people, like me, I'm going to apply that interest from the day it went late. So whatever it is that you do, you should standardize it. You should write it down. This is what we do. Click, 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 click. So on Monday, you send out your notes, and you can have a very standardized email that says, hey, it looks like you forgot to pay this bill. Here's another copy of the invoice. Unfortunately, we had to charge you a late fee, and so there's some interest there, so please pay this as quickly as possible. Then you give them a sob story about being a small business and how you really rely on them to pay their bill on time. Again, the specifics of the process don't matter, but you should have a standardized process. You should have standardized terms. You should write this down. You should make sure that all of your clients get a memo about what it's going to be from now on, and that this is going to be your process. It doesn't have to be adversarial. It just, it should be as friendly as possible, but you do need to get paid in a timely manner. And you will make more money when you stop loaning your money to other people. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Palachuk wishing you all the best in your managed service business.